Hi everyone. Apologies, just filling around. Obviously it was my first live Q&A, our first live Q&A last week, and always a few teething issues. And one of the things that was pointed out, and I knew it anyway, really, was that the lighting wasn't brilliant. And unfortunately, I thought I'd solved that problem today, but clearly the light that I've got isn't good enough. So maybe it's not positioned in the right place. I'm not a lighting specialist or video specialist, as I'm sure you can probably tell already anyway. I've got another week now. I will get on it as soon as I can after this, and I'll get something properly ordered from Amazon, no doubt, that will make me much lighter and you'll be able to see me much better. But thank you very much for tuning in last week. Thank you to you guys that are tuning in again this week. You may be people that watched last week and you want some more information. Maybe you've got in touch between now and then. I've had a couple of questions come through, so that's really, really useful. And I'm going to be speaking about a specific tattoo that somebody's inquired about as well, and they're happy for me to show. It's been a funny old week for me. Easter's been happening, and so I took a few days off, spent that with the family. We had a little mini festival in the back garden, which was great. Tent went up, barbecue went on, drank a lot of alcohol, ate a lot of barbecue food. So it's been a kind of a slightly less productive week this week, but actually in many ways it's been really nice. So it's been great to be able to spend some quality time with the family, time that we just wouldn't normally have, time that we're probably never going to get back again and never really have this opportunity. And I know it's a terrible world out there at the moment. It's a horrendous place, but I think, you have to look at what you can be thankful for. And absolutely my family for me at the moment is everything. So as it always is, but right now it's even more, as I'm sure it is for most of you as well. So a couple of things just quickly for those of you maybe who are watching, who are clients. Just a couple of things. We are selling vouchers, and we are adding 20% to the cost of vouchers at the moment as well. So if you buy a voucher for £100, you get an extra 20% on top of that. So you'd get a voucher for £120 and so on. So that's something that some of you may or may not be interested in. I also put a post on Facebook and in our email last week about potentially clients leaving video testimonials. If that's something you'll be happy to do, let me know. You can do that from the comfort of your own home, and I can send you a document telling you exactly how to do that. You can do it on your phone. It just needs to be real and genuine. It doesn't have to be perfect. It would really help us and help the business as well in this difficult time. And please share this. So this live Q&A that's going out, I appreciate some people will tune in right now. Some people won't. Some people will be doing other things. But you can look back at this and it will give you a really good information-based source of information that you're not going to get from anywhere else, really. You can search the internet, but it's very difficult to filter out the precise, the proper, the exact, the true information, the information that's specific for you and relevant for you as well. So please, during this, get in touch with any questions that you've got, any comments. If you're too shy to do that, it's not a problem. Email me, message me on Facebook, Instagram, whatever it be. Get in touch, and ideally with a photo, and then I can get back to you with a lot more specific information around the potential treatment of your tattoo. Okay, I am going to try and speak a little bit slower today. That's not very easy for me because I do kind of rush through things a little bit, and things that come into my mind, I speak quite quickly. So I will try and slow down a little bit. And yeah, hopefully that will be better for most of you. So I have had some questions come in, which has been great. So I'm going to take you through a couple of those now. Now, one of them is about a specific tattoo. So somebody got in touch with me about half an hour ago. They've asked me some information around their tattoo and the potential treatment of that. Now, they assumed up until this point, whether they've seen my videos, whether they've seen something else online through research, I'm not sure exactly how they came to understand this or find us exactly right now, but they understood that their tattoo was not able to be removed. And mainly, I believe that was around the different colors that were included in this tattoo. So I'm going to show it to you. I've got permission to do this. I'm not going to mention any names, of course. So this is the tattoo. I'm hoping you can see that there's a bit of glare and a bit of reflection on there, but I think you get the general idea. It is a very dark tattoo. There's a lot of different colors there. There's greens, blues, blacks, pinks, purples, and it is dense. So I'm just going to talk briefly about this tattoo. I need to kind of look at it myself as well. So it looks quite new. So the first thing I would be asking this client is how old it is. Now, I don't know if that's because this tattoo was recently applied or whether this photo was taken when it was recently applied. But we'd need to wait initially 3 months after the date of the application before we could start any removal process. So that next step would be to get you in for consultation, so we could look at it in person, because you can look at a tattoo on a photo and then you can look at it in person, and actually it can look quite different. New tattoos as well, they tend to kind of dull down a little bit, and then they are slightly less vibrant once they get a bit older and actually become easier to treat as well. So that's the first little step. The next step would be then to do a test patch during that consultation, and we do that mainly for one reason, and that main reason is to make sure that there's no adverse reaction to the laser. Now, we can do a very thorough consultation form. We can ask loads of questions, medical type questions, to make sure that in theory there is going to be no adverse reaction, and that would pick up 99.9% of any issues. However, there is always that 0.01% that actually are just going to have a bad reaction to laser. It's a bit like hair dye. Most people are absolutely fine with that, but occasionally people can have a really severe reaction, and it's just unfortunate. So we carry out a test patch, and then we wait at least 24 hours before we carry out a first treatment. Okay, so this tattoo is a mixture. It's a mixture of colouring in, shading, different colours, and outline. So the thinner outline is going to treat very quickly because of the nature of it. It is applied a little bit denser and a little bit deeper than shading, but because it's so thin, that will treat very quickly. You've got some darker shading in there. Again, the black ink, that's the darker shading. I'll show you that again, just kind of in the middle there. In the middle there. And that's going to treat very quickly. So that will dull down very quickly. The blue, the green will treat very, very quickly because that's the same wavelength we would use to treat all those colors. The 755, which is attracted to the colder colors in the spectrum of light, blacks, blues, greens, etc. And actually, those colors difference even after just one or two treatments. Then we've got purple. That kind of falls in the middle of the two wavelengths. Sometimes that reacts really well to the 755. Sometimes that reacts better to the 532. Now, the 532 wavelength is attracted to those warmer colors in the spectrum of light, so reds, yellows, oranges, etc. Purple kind of falls in the middle, but we've got some pink in there, some pinky reddy tones. So we would use the two wavelengths. First treatment, we'll always just use the 755 across the whole tattoo. Now, we do that because sometimes those warmer colors can react to the 755, but also there's normally colder tones mixed in with the warmer tones. We need to get rid of those colder tones first, those ones that react with the 755. It's also slightly less aggressive on melanin, on pigment in your skin. So it's a safer wavelength on your pigmentation. And so what we would do then is first full treatment, we just use the 755, which is attracted to those colder colors in the spectrum of light. Second treatment, we then use the two wavelengths. So then we would use the 755 and the 532. Third treatment, back to the 755, and we alternate. So we use one wavelength, one treatment, two wavelengths the next one. Basically, that means that we have minimum impact on your melanin and maximum impact on the ink in your tattoo to remove it and create the biggest impact. So your skin also then in those areas where we're treating with the warmer tones with the 532 is going to get more rest because we're treating that area every other treatment with that wavelength. For this tattoo, in terms of full removal, I don't see why at this stage this shouldn't be possible. It shouldn't be possible to not fully remove. So yes, we should be able to achieve, not receive. We should be. This is where I need to slow down. We should be able to achieve 100% full removal unless there's something there that I don't know about. So the fact that it's closer to the hand and your extremities can mean that tattoo removal takes a little bit longer. I'll explain that very briefly. So basically, anything that's closer to your heart is considered to treat better because your lymphatic system, your lymphatic drainage, your circulation is better on your torso, closer to your heart, than it is to your extremities. So if you have poor circulation, then that's a sign that your circulation, cold hands and feet, that's a sign that your circulation isn't as good and will definitely take longer. And some tattoos you can treat a sleeve and you can see that in action. The top part of the arm treats faster and better than the lower part of the arm. And that's exactly what happens. Some people makes no difference whatsoever. Some people can make a difference. When this was applied, newer inks applied better with better artists, better, applications, better style, better technique, can take longer than something that's older. The The colors aren't a problem, as I said. Health, medication, lifestyle, they can all play a part in whether this tattoo will treat faster or slower as well. I'm just going to show you it once more for those of you maybe who have just tuned in, and so you know a little bit more about what we're talking about here. Okay, so we normally say between 4 and 8 treatments for full removal. It's a difficult one with this because I've got a feeling that this will treat really, really well. Now, even if it treats really, really well, it probably still will fall somewhere between those 4 and 8 treatments. We will know an awful lot more after that first treatment. I would still say expect somewhere between 4 and 8 treatments. Whether it's going to be towards the lower end or the higher end, I don't know. I would probably, for this type of tattoo, set expectations somewhere around 6 to 8 treatments. But it's very, very difficult to be precise. And I do get caught out occasionally, even after treating tattoos for 4 years. Because you can see a tattoo and you know, oh, brilliant, that's going to treat really well. And then you start treating it, and for whatever reason, normally around the application or what's in the ink, or can be medication, health issues, it just doesn't treat anywhere near as well as you think. Then you look at other tattoos, especially when you see a photo, and you think that's going to be really dark, it's really dense. But actually, when you see it in reality, it's very grainy, and it treats really, really well because it's not as dense as you thought it would be. And that person maybe is really fit and well and healthy, drink lots of water, their lifestyle is really good, and actually that can make a massive difference as well. So I think for guesstimates, at this stage, I'd say somewhere between 6 and 8 treatments. We would treat you every 10 weeks. We do that because of the fact that we used to treat every 8 weeks. We can safely treat after 6 weeks, but it's no good to treat after 6 weeks because your body hasn't, well, actually it's only just begun to process that ink. With tattoos, with your first treatment, we see 2 fades. We see an initial fade, which is almost immediate. Once that tattoo heals, you will see a fade. And you will definitely see an initial fade in this because of the superficial nature of the application of some of this ink. So we'll see that initial fade after once it heals. Normally healing time is about 2 weeks. And then once that's healed, it will kind of you'll not really notice an awful lot for probably about 4 weeks, and you'll think, oh, okay, is that it then? And then you'll probably start to not look at it so much, and then you'll start to notice a bit more change and a bit more progress, especially around week 6 to 10. So because your body doesn't really start to process that ink until week 6 again, and you don't notice those changes. If we're hitting your tattoo and treating your tattoo every 6 weeks, we're not allowing your body enough time to process that ink. We used to treat every 8 weeks, which actually was good. It wasn't bad at all. We got some really good results from that. But what we found was that we left it 10 weeks. And we really noticed this when people maybe took the summer off, or they had a holiday and got suntan, and then they actually had 10 or 12 weeks off rather than coming in every 8 weeks. And we would say, wow, your tattoo's really faded. And we'd look at the settings that we'd used and reassess those and think, no, actually, we've done nothing different here, really. We've followed protocol. We've followed our understanding of the tattoo, how it's treated so far, what the after effects have been like, etc. But we've seen a much better progress. So, right, let's do it. So Rona and I had that discussion. We took the decision to treat every 10 weeks. And actually, we are finding that clients are getting much better fade. So every 10 weeks, we would treat you. Now, for a tattoo of this size, you'll be looking at £150 per treatment. So you can pay that every 10 weeks as you go. And that's probably the most expensive way of doing it. But obviously, it needs to fit into budget. So let me just show you that once more. So a tattoo of around that size. Now, every tattoo is different. So we have to assess on the amount of ink that we're treating as to how much it's going to cost, basically. The bigger the tattoo and the more ink, the more expensive. The smaller the tattoo and less ink, the less expensive. But we don't just take the overall size of the tattoo. If it's a tattoo that's script, for example, we'd take that script, that writing, and we'd squash it down into a space and price on that. So although it may look like and appear like a really large tattoo, actually, once we squash it down, there's not much ink at all. So, it will be much more cost effective. So we try and price it as fairly as possible. So £150 every 10 weeks. And if that's the best way that people can budget themselves, then that's absolutely fine. Another way, if you're going to have 6 or 9 treatments, is to put it into a payment plan. So a payment plan, we would take a deposit. You get a 10% discount overall. Then we take a deposit and spread the balance over 10 months if it's a course of 6, or 16 months if it's a course of 9, because that's roughly how long it would take to carry out all of those treatments. That's the middle way, the middle most cost-effective way, if that makes any sense. And then the cheapest, most cost-effective way is to buy in bulk, to buy a course of treatments up front. So if you buy a course of 3 treatments up front, you get a 15% discount. Buy a course of 6 treatments up front, 20% discount. Buy a course of 9 treatments, a 25% discount. Now, we changed our pricing just before, about a month before this coronavirus incident hit, and we closed. So for some people that are listening that are current clients, this may be slightly different to what you've already had. This is our new thing that we're doing now, and people seem to be really liking it. So this is the way we're moving forwards at the moment. Now, obviously, if you are going for full removal, a course of 9 or a course of 6 is probably the best option there. I mean, a course of 9, if it was even darker than this, maybe a tribal that had been coloured in 3 or 4 times, and you were looking at full removal, a course of 9 definitely be your best option, because you're almost getting, well, you're getting over 2 treatments free. You're effectively paying for 7 treatments, under 7 treatments, and getting 9. So it does work out more cost effective, obviously, the more you buy and the more you pay up front. We can discuss all of those options when you come in, and we can be as flexible as possible. We don't really offer any extra discounts on top of that, because we value a service of what we will offer and the results that we achieve. But what I mean is we can figure things out with you, and even adjust that payment plan if we can work out something better for you as well. So that's the way it would work for this tattoo. So if we are looking at around 6 treatments, we're probably looking at around a year to 18 months, I would say, because sometimes the summer gets in the way. Sometimes people have holidays. Sometimes people can't make it in for whatever reason. So 10 weeks turns into 12 weeks here and there. Or actually, it may just take a few more treatments than 6. I've said 6 to 8, but some tattoos go faster than you would imagine, and some take just a little bit longer. So we need to be a little bit flexible on that, which is why we estimate all the time and give you a range of numbers rather than say, yeah, exactly, this is how many numbers, how many numbers, how many weeks, how much, how long it will take overall, how many treatments, etc. So to summarize, yes, there's no reason why we can't fully remove this tattoo as far as I can see at the moment. We can treat all those colors. It's going to take roughly around 18 months, a year to 18 months to fully remove. We can't do anything just now, but as soon as we can get you in, as long as it's over 3 months old, we can get you in for a consultation and a test patch. We can start treating you 24 hours later. In terms of cost, £150 per treatment. You can pay as you go every 10 weeks, or we can work out discounts for you on courses of treatments purchased, or if you wanted to put it into a payment plan, we can do that for you as well. I hope that answers most of your questions. And please let me know on here if there's anything that I haven't covered, or please get in touch with me afterwards. Obviously, we're not open at the moment, but I can get people booked in onto a list, and then I'm contacting clients or potential clients who may be interested in coming in for a consultation as soon as we are open. So that probably covers an awful lot of information for a lot of people. So I hope that really helps, not just the person that sent in that tattoo for me to discuss. And actually, it's a really useful way of doing this. And actually, if I can find a way to share the tattoo on the screen in future, then I will try and do that, because that will be really, really useful for everybody. And if I kind of almost take a case study of a tattoo at the beginning or some point in this Q&A, then it almost answers so many questions without me even having to think, or people needing to send them in. And the client's just giving me a message as well, just to say, or potential client, I should say, I shouldn't assume, just saying thank you, very helpful, and she's really relieved that she can potentially fully remove her tattoo, and she'll be in touch. Thank you very much for sending that in. So let's look at a few other things here. For some reason, my computer's just started doing some really weird things. Bear with me one moment. Let's get rid of that. Here we are, back again. Brilliant. Okay, so let's just look and see if there are anything else in. Okay, yeah, so I had a question around how does tattoo removal actually work? So tattoo ink is pigment in your skin. So it's held in cells in your skin, and that's why it's still there. So it's in your middle layer, basically, of your skin. If ever anyone has ever experienced blowout, that's where the tattoo artist or the ink has gone too deep. It's gone into your 3rd layer of skin, which is your subcutaneous layer, which is where the ink kind of bleeds out. It looks like you've got a big bruise around your tattoo, and that's why it doesn't hold on. The cells down there are too fatty, basically. So it's held in there, and it sits quite nicely until we come along and we fire a laser at it. So the laser is attracted to different colors in the spectrum of light. So the laser, the 755, is attracted to those cold colors. That's the one we use primarily, predominantly. And so basically the laser is fired, it pushes pressure waves through the skin. The pressure waves are attracted to that ink, it hits the ink, and it breaks it up, basically. As that pressure wave pushes through the skin, it creates friction, which creates heat. And that's why it feels hot and pingy, the actual treatment. If you fire the laser onto blank skin, onto skin that has no ink in it whatsoever, you can hardly feel it. It's like there's nothing even happening. It's the reaction between the laser and the ink that creates the pain. And it's the friction of the pressure waves pushing through the skin that create the heat. So that's why it feels hot and pingy. So as it hits the ink, it breaks into small pieces. And then your body basically comes along and it gobbles it up, and it basically takes it away. So the smaller the particles there are, the easier your body can do that. So it takes away those small particles first, and it breaks it down over a period of time. It takes time to do this. It doesn't just do it instantly, although some do. That really light ink that breaks into the smallest of pieces does disappear straight away. It's the ink that's in the slightly larger pieces that takes time to break down and be gobbled up. Your body then basically, it's your lymphatic system, which is part of your immune system, that comes along and draws that ink away, filters it out through your body, and then you essentially wee it out. Not that you would ever see that, unfortunately, because I think that would be incredibly satisfying. You'd know that something was happening. Maybe that's just me. So then that's it. So what happens then afterwards is you get something called frosting on your skin, which is almost immediate. It's where the ink turns white. People love that, but again, because it shows a reaction. And you tend to get that on your first few treatments. And as you go along, there's less ink in your skin, less reaction taking place, and therefore you get less and less of it. And people are a bit concerned after the third, fourth treatment. They're kind of like, where's the frosting? There's no reaction. We look for other things, other signals at that point to show us that things are happening. A flickering in the beam, the fact that it hurts you, the clicking noise, that's a real key indication of the treatment or the reaction taking place. So the frosting hangs around for a few minutes, and it's actually where the ink has been heated up. The ink releases gases and moisture that basically then sits on the surface of the ink and underneath the skin. It sounds really weird. It's very normal. And then that dies down after about 5 or 10 minutes. Generally, you don't see that because we put some bepanthen on your arm or wherever your tattoo is, sorry. And then we cover it up. And then that dressing stays on for 24 hours. Remove the dressing, wash the area with cool water, and then kind of leave it alone as much as possible. I'll talk a little bit about aftercare now, just because that comes into it. People worry about blisters. Now, blisters with our laser are incredibly normal. We try to limit blisters, but actually blisters show a big reaction. And a big reaction, bigger after effects, generally lead to better fading. So whilst you're trying to limit that reaction to an extent because you don't want huge after effects, big-ish after effects are a good thing. As long as you can manage those after effects safely and make sure that you don't get the area dirty, then that's a good thing. It becomes more difficult when you've got tattoos on your hand, for example, that maybe swell up, and then you've got big blisters, and then maybe you do a manual job. We talk about all of that during the consultations, and one of the questions I ask is, what do you do for work, and what do you do for a living? And people are often a little bit surprised about that question. It's mainly because then I can tailor the aftercare advice to you. And so that's why I'm not just being nosy, although some people do think I'm a bit nosy. I ask a lot of questions, but that's because then it allows me to gain a much better understanding of how I can best serve you, how I can best help you and give you the right advice to make sure that you are safe and your tattoo is safe and we get best results together. So the dressing comes off after 24 hours. You wash the area with cool water, not hot water. You pat it dry rather than rub it dry in case you've blistered. Blisters are very normal. Back into your skin and heal. Whole healing process takes around 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks first treatment, and then then again you wait for that fading to take place. And during that aftercare, we don't go anywhere. We're at the end of an email, end of a phone, end of a Facebook message, whatever it may be, Instagram, because we really pride ourselves on the level of support that we offer afterwards. I've heard horror stories where there is no aftercare when you go to some places, not even a consultation. People walk in and they show a tattoo and they go, yeah, it'll be 30 quid. Sit down, do it now. And off they go. And then afterwards, if they're lucky, they get handed some napkins and off they go. And now most of these other lasers where they're getting handed napkins is because the skin's broken and it's bleeding. And they're walking off down the high street with a clump of tissues attached to their arm, and that's it. And that's horrendous. Our laser doesn't break the skin, for one. But when we pride ourselves in the level of care and aftercare and support and advice that we give the whole way through, and especially after treatment. Gives you a little bit of information there around that. There's a few other things that have come in. So I've got a question here. Okay, interesting. So I never really thought, but that's a good one. This is from Mitch. There's a lot of different colors in this tattoo. Does that mean you need more treatments? No, because we're using the two different wavelengths simultaneously. And I know I said that we stagger those, the color one every other treatment, but normally that ink is shallower. Normally it removes faster than maybe something that's deeper. So actually, no, it doesn't mean you need more treatments most of the time. That tattoo has got a lot of colors going on, but it's a fairly straightforward tattoo. Now, you can get tattoos that have lots of colors in, that are maybe layered tattoos, that are cover-ups, etc. That would definitely need more treatments, because you're treating ink on top of ink, and it's denser and it's a lot more complicated. And we do have that sometimes, where there's color over color over color, all different colors, and that gets really complicated. But for that tattoo, probably not. But that's a really good question. Thanks for that, Mitch. Steph, a question here. Okay, good. Yeah, so Steph's asking about clients that maybe have darker skin types or different skin types. And so that's really important, because anyone that's a skin type 1 and 2, much easier. So that would be somebody, skin type 1 would be kind of like, mainly, and I'm generalizing here, but that you kind of have to when you do skin typing, redhead, very pale skin, freckles, that kind of thing, doesn't tan. In fact, probably stays out of the sun all the time. Skin type 2 would be me. I tan, but I have to work at it, and then my tan fades very quickly. So for us, tattoo removal, pretty straightforward, really, to be honest. Risk of removing pigment from your skin is minimal, as long as you're at your natural color. Skin type 3, we're looking at then kind of Mediterranean type skin. If you're your natural color, increased risk of removing pigment from your skin, but actually we should be able to work within parameters that makes it very unlikely to remove pigment from your skin. Once you get to skin type 4, skin type 5, skin type 6, so we're talking then kind of Asian, black skin, very dark skin, much increased risk. So what we have to do then is we have to treat more carefully. We start on lower settings, and means that it can take longer to fully remove a tattoo. With really dark skin types, that could put a question mark over whether we can actually fully remove a tattoo at all whilst maintaining the pigment in the skin. We certainly can't use a 532 on anything skin type 3 and above, really. Skin type 3 is a bit of a grey area, but certainly wouldn't use it on a skin type 4, 5, and 6, because that is much higher risk of it being attracted to melanin in the skin. So we'd mainly be using the 755 on those higher numbers in terms of skin types. But yes, increased risk, lower settings, take more time, maybe even longer time in between treatments, and assess it at every step, trying to minimize that risk. And just really small increases in spot sizes, small increases in the amount of energy being used, so it makes it less aggressive, whilst so basically trying to remove that tattoo whilst maintaining pigment in the skin. And as you go up, that risk increases in terms of skin types. So low risk 1 and 2, slightly higher risk skin type 3, higher again skin type 4, 5 and 6, then you are really starting to get higher. And personally, if someone was a skin type 5 or 6 and they wanted full removal and they were that skin type, you're having a serious conversation around, you have got a higher risk of removing pigment from your skin. And that is a risk that you need to be fully aware of. How much don't you like this tattoo? And actually, if it's a cover-up they're looking at, then normally only a few treatments is required anyway. Incredibly low risk of removing pigment from the skin, because we'd be on lower settings, easier to cover. Full removal, again, probably a different conversation around a high risk with that. In terms of skin color, it also means sun tanning. So anyone, if you're a skin type 2, 3 or higher, then definitely we need to be incredibly careful about sun tanning. And I did mention that in the last video, but we cannot treat you if you have a suntan or sun tanning products on your skin. We need you to be at your natural skin color to be able to treat you with no suntan and no sun tanning products. That will increase the risk of removing pigment from your skin as well. Brilliant. I hope that helps. So we've just kind of spoken briefly there about covering a tattoo. I do get asked questions about, if we fade a tattoo down, can you then cover it with another tattoo? Yeah, absolutely, of course. That's a big part of what we do. So one client wants full removal, another client wants fading to cover. So we probably have about 50-50 of that in terms of our clients, maybe slightly more on the full removal side, but there's a lot of reasons why people want tattoos covered up. They don't like the style, the design. It's an old tattoo. It's an ex's name, whatever. You know, they might have had a new tattoo recently, and the new tattoo was done 3 weeks ago, and the old tattoo was done 10 years ago, 20 years ago. The old style is really looking dated now, so they want it faded down to cover it. So yeah, absolutely. So we can fade that down. It depends what's going over the top as to how faded we need to get it. So we normally say between 2 and 4 treatments to fade a tattoo to cover it, but it depends on the complicated nature of the tattoo that we're starting with and what's going on over the top as to how faded we need to get it. If it's something that's going over the top that's got negative space, or it's a very intricate design, maybe a portrait, where you can't really compromise on how it looks and the position of it and location, etc., then we need to get that tattoo faded down to pretty much 0 before something can go over the top anyway. If it's a much bolder, darker design, lots of color involved, etc., then we've probably just got to take the edge off that tattoo that's being covered to be able to make sure that it's not showing through once that tattoo is gone over. You need to wait a minimum of 3 months after your final treatment, laser tattoo removal treatment, to be able to get it covered. Now, that's our recommendation. That's our guidance. Now, some tattoo artists would speak differently. They would have a different opinion on that. Some will say 3 months. Some will say 6 months. Some will say longer. I don't blame them. I think ideally wait, because we notice that when we carry out a treatment on a client and we don't see them for 6 months, maybe they've been unwell, maybe they've been traveling, maybe they've been on 3 holidays over the course of the summer, and it's taken that long for their tan to fade. We notice a significant amount of fading on their tattoo. So it is the case that tattoos will continue to fade up to 6 months, possibly even slightly longer. So if you think about it, and we're treating a tattoo, and then you get a cover up on it 2 months, 3 months, 4 months later, that tattoo underneath is still fading. Your body's still drawing that ink away and getting rid of it. What potentially could happen to the tattoo that's going on top? I'm not an expert on tattooing, but I would suggest that there's a small chance that your body may recognize that as ink that needs to be removed rather than ink that needs to stay. So don't be in a rush. None of this is done quickly. And at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is get rid of something that you don't like and you don't want, so that you never have to see it again, full stop, or that's going to be covered in such a way that you're never going to have to see the tattoo that's underneath again. And if you compromise that, and you've been through a journey, and we've spent a year or whatever it is, 8 months, 6 months, fading something down, you spent a decent amount of money on getting something faded down to a point, and then you go, oh, yeah, let's just rush in and get something else. Or actually, instead of having that last treatment, I'm going to get it covered now because I want to fit it in just before the summer. Why? You're going to live with this tattoo for the rest of your life, aren't you? Ideally, you don't want to go through all this again in another 5 years or another 2 years or another 10 years. Do it right. Take your time. There is no rush. You can live with this for the rest of your life. Do it right. Get the right result for you, even if it takes an extra 3 months, even if it takes an extra 6 months now. Do it right. Take your time. Let's just have a look, see if I can answer one more question. Let's do this one, and then I think we'll probably wrap it up unless anything else comes through. I had a question come through midweek about treating white ink. White ink is tricky. White is not a color. White is not a color in the spectrum of light. So lasers aren't attracted to it. So a few things happen. It depends really on the ink and how it's been applied in the first place. If it's really light, really superficial, and you can hardly see it, because white ink does tend to kind of die down quite quickly anyway. It looks good for a little while, and then it vanishes unless it's quite bold. So if it's light and superficial, we might even avoid it. We might go over it, and it might just disappear. If it's darker and a bit bolder, normally one or two things happens. It either turns a kind of a peachy sort of color and blends in with your skin. Less likely, more likely, it turns a kind of a dirty gray color. Now, depending on the density of that white and how much of it has been applied, that may hang around for quite some time and become quite difficult to remove. some people are fine with that because they're going to get a cover up, or they're willing to take that risk, or actually it's the least of their worries because they hate the tattoo so much. Normally what happens is, because we're treating the rest of the tattoo and that takes time anyway, then we hit that each time and it does break down, but it takes longer and longer than most normal tattoos. So white is tricky. It's not a color. It's not attracted. Lasers are not attracted to it, and therefore it is a bit tricky. And I'd kind of question why you would get white anyway in your tattoo. I know you want highlighting. I know you want some things to look good, but it doesn't last very well and it becomes very difficult to remove. That's just my opinion, of course. So I'm going to wrap this up now. Thank you so much for coming and tuning in. It's been roughly the same number of people that came on last time, and some of you may be new, some of you may be the same people. It's a really great opportunity to share some knowledge with you. Whether you choose to come and make an inquiry with us or not, it's not a problem for me, because I love the fact that I can give quality, relevant information that's true and unbiased to people, so that they can then go and make an informed decision about what to do next. If you are interested, Facebook, Instagram, email, private message me, send me an email. You can go onto our website and you can upload an image on our chat bot if that's something that you find easy to do. The best thing is to send a photo. If you're thinking about it and you're like, well, I've hated this for years, but I still don't know really what to do about it, send me a photo. I'll give you my honest opinion. Knowledge is power. So once you have information, you'll be in a position to make an informed decision on what you want to do. Even if you decide that's not what you want to do right now, don't worry about it. My information is free. It's not a problem. I would rather you have that information to make a decision on than not have that information. So it doesn't take much. Just take a quick photo, email it, private message me. I can get back to you with relevant information. I like to send video messages because I find that's the best way to get a lot of information across to you, but also instantly we're creating a relationship, and relationships in this are key, absolutely key for me. I love building the relationships with my clients. So that's a perfect starting point for me. So get in touch. The other thing is, please pass this on. So if you're able to, if you've got anyone out there that you think the information that I'm giving could be relevant to, just send them a link. Send them a link to this, send them a link to our YouTube channel, send a link to our website, whatever it may be, because they may be sitting at home thinking, I don't know where to go. I'm going to go around to Joe Blogs around the corner. He's got a laser. He only charges 20 quid. So yeah, I'm going to go there. Please don't. Please think about it. Please do your research. Don't base it on price and location. Talk to other people who are having a good experience. Pass on this information, please. And then that will come back tenfold on you, because you've passed on some really good information that somebody's been really struggling with and finding that information. Thank you very much. If you find, we're going to do this again next week, and I probably will take a case study of another tattoo. So if you want me to include that next week, please let me know. And if you've got any other questions that I haven't covered or anything you more clarification on, please get in touch. Stay safe, stay home.